Imagine the heavy oak doors of Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle finally swinging shut for the night. The cameras are gone, the crowds have vanished, and the public performance of the monarchy officially ends. But for the ruling king, a different, far more rigid reality is just beginning. Most of us view sleep as a private sanctuary, where we are finally free to just exist. But in the world of the Windsors, your bedroom is technically a state apartment, and your rest is a high-stakes operation. Number 6. The perfectionist service. Before the monarch even thinks about closing his eyes, a small army of staff has spent hours transforming the bedroom into a temple of precision. This isn't just about turning down the covers. It is a ritual of extreme attention to detail that borders on the surreal. It begins in the bathroom, where the king's valet performs a task that sounds like a scene from a movie. The toothpaste is not just left on the counter, it is squeezed onto the brush in a perfect, straight line, measuring exactly 1 inch. No more, no less. A former royal aide once whispered about the intensity of this routine, saying, "You might think it is just a bath, but to the household, it is a military maneuver." The water must be tested with a wooden-cased thermometer to ensure it is exactly the temperature His Majesty requires, and the tub must be filled to a specific depth, usually no more than 7 inches. This obsession with order extends to the very clothes on the king's back. His silk pajamas are pressed every single day until they are as smooth as glass. There can be no creases, no stray threads, and no folds that might cause even a second of discomfort during the night. Even the bed sheets tell a story of ancient tradition. You might expect the king to sleep on the crispest, newest silk, but the reality is the opposite. The royal family prefers linen that has been used and laundered for decades. These heirlooms are prized because they have been softened by time, providing a level of comfort that new fabrics simply cannot match. If you find these rituals fascinating, hit that like button right now and subscribe so you don't miss our deep dive into palace secrets. Also, tell me in the comments, if you had a personal valet, what is the one tiny detail you would want them to get perfect for you every night? While the king enjoys this world-class pampering, there is one thing all the money and servants in the world cannot buy him: the freedom to choose his own bedtime. It turns out, even the most powerful man in the country is a prisoner to a social hierarchy that forces his family to stay awake until he gives the signal. We will reveal that exhausting rule in the next section. Number 5. The Rule of Precedence. Imagine feeling absolutely exhausted after a long day of public events, cameras flashing, and non-stop smiling. Your eyes are heavy, your feet ache, and all you want to do is crawl into bed. But you cannot. You are forced to sit in a stiff chair, making polite conversation, because leaving the room would be considered a direct insult to the crown. This is the exhausting reality of royal protocol. By strict decree, no one in the room is permitted to retire for the evening before the reigning monarch. It does not matter if you are a high-ranking duke or a nervous newcomer who just married into the family. Your biological need for sleep is completely irrelevant compared to the schedule of the person wearing the crown. During the long reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this rule became a legendary source of agony, most famously for Princess Diana. The Queen was a notorious night owl, frequently staying up well past midnight to finish her correspondence or chat with her guests. For Diana, who was already struggling with the intense pressure and relentless fatigue of royal life, these long, drawn-out evenings were unbearable. A close friend of the princess later recalled her despair, recounting how Diana would say that those endless hours in the drawing room were absolute torture. She would describe the agonizing experience of sitting there, desperately wishing she could just excuse herself and go to bed, yet knowing that doing so would cause a massive scandal and be seen as a total lack of respect. This rule turned sleep deprivation into a subtle test of loyalty. If the monarch wants to stay up until 2 in the morning discussing agricultural policy or reading state papers, the entire entourage must remain awake, smiling, and fully engaged. There is no slipping away quietly. To leave before the monarch is a breach of etiquette that signals you value your own comfort over the institution itself. It creates a dynamic where stamina is a requirement for survival. But when the monarch finally stands up and signals the end of the night, allowing everyone to flee to their own private quarters, do these royal couples actually find romance behind closed doors? You might be shocked to learn why the king and queen actually choose to sleep in separate bedrooms. The surprising reason is coming up in our next section. Number 4. The sanctuary of solitude and the obsession with cold air. In the modern world, a couple sleeping in separate rooms might be seen as a sign of a crumbling marriage. But in the upper echelons of the British aristocracy, it is considered the ultimate luxury. King Charles and Queen Camilla, much like Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip before them, have maintained separate sleeping quarters for much of their lives. This is not a reflection of emotional distance, but rather a practical adherence to a tradition that prioritizes quality of rest over intimacy. The logic is simple. If you have the space, why suffer through your partner's snoring, tossing, or blanket stealing? Lady Pamela Hicks once explained this upper-class mindset perfectly, noting that you simply do not want to be bothered with someone flinging a leg around or making noise when you are trying to recover from a grueling schedule. To the royals, the bedroom is not a shared domestic space. It is a private recovery chamber. These suites are often connected by a middle door, allowing the couple to choose between solitude and company whenever they wish. It turns the sleeping quarters into a sanctuary where the lighting, noise levels, and atmosphere are tailored exactly to their individual liking. However, if you were ever invited to stay at a royal residence, you would need to pack more than just your pajamas. The Windsors are famous for an obsession that many guests find unbearable: a fanatical belief in the health benefits of freezing, fresh air. This stems from a Victorian-era theory that stagnant indoor air breeds illness, while brisk outdoor air strengthens the constitution. Queen Elizabeth II was notorious for keeping her bedroom windows thrown wide open, regardless of the season. Even on a freezing winter night, the royal apartments are often kept at temperatures that would make most people shiver. At Balmoral Castle, the cold is so legendary that guests are known to wear thick wool sweaters just to sit in the drawing room. For the monarch, sleeping in a climate-controlled, hermetically sealed room is out of the question. They require the raw atmosphere of the outdoors, believing it keeps them resilient against the germs they encounter during their public duties. But no matter how cold or quiet the room is, the morning arrives with a sudden, piercing jolt. There is no hitting the snooze button on a smartphone here. Instead, the king is woken by a sound that is loud, historic, and undeniably human. You won't believe who is standing outside the window at 9 in the morning. That story is coming up next. Number 3. The human alarm clock and the end of privacy. While most of the world wakes up to the digital buzz of a smartphone or the soft melodies of a radio, the British monarch begins their day with a sound that is loud, piercing, and undeniably historic. Since the reign of Queen Victoria in 1843, the sovereign has been roused from sleep by the drone of bagpipes played directly beneath their window. This position, known as the piper to the sovereign, is one of the most prestigious and visible roles in the royal household. Every single morning at 9 o'clock sharp, regardless of the weather or the location, whether they are at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or the misty highlands of Balmoral, the piper marches for exactly 15 minutes. There is no hitting the snooze button here. The piercing drone of the pipes is a signal that the day has officially begun and that the world is now watching. It is a jarring, daily reminder of duty, the moment consciousness returns. One former staff member noted, "The pipes are a psychological anchor. They remind the king that he isn't just a man waking up in a bed. He is the head of a nation, and his time no longer belongs to himself." But the transition from sleep to public figure isn't just about the noise, it is about the image. For most of us, the morning routine involves stumbling into the kitchen with messy hair, still wearing pajamas or a bathrobe to grab a coffee. For the monarch, this is strictly forbidden. The psychological separation between the private individual and the head of state happens the second they leave the bedroom door. There is no wandering the corridors of the palace in a robe. If the king is to be seen by any staff member, and the palace is teeming with them, he must be dressed. Historically, these rules were even more rigid. Queen Mary, the grandmother of Elizabeth II, famously appeared for breakfast in full corsetry and jewelry. While King Charles is reportedly more relaxed, the expectation remains. You are never truly off-duty in the eyes of those who serve you. The moment his feet hit the floor, the mask of the monarchy must be applied. There is no space for the vulnerability of the unkempt morning self. However, the bagpipes and the dress code are merely the public-facing parts of the morning. Behind the scenes, the silence of the palace hallways is a facade. Even while the monarch sleeps, there are invisible eyes and very real weapons positioned just a few steps away. Because in the dark, the crown is at its most vulnerable. That is why, just outside the royal suite, someone is always waiting with a loaded gun. Number 2. The fortress of the night. When the sun sets and the palace lights dim, the security grid around the monarch tightens into something resembling a military operation. The most terrifying moment for royal security is the night specifically, the hours when the palace is silent and the sovereign is most vulnerable. This obsession with nighttime safety is rooted in a chilling historical failure. In 1982, a man named Michael Fagan famously scaled the walls of Buckingham Palace, navigated the labyrinth of hallways, and made it all the way into Queen Elizabeth II's bedroom while she was still in bed. That breach changed everything. Today, the protocols are of a different caliber entirely. The silence of the corridors at 3 in the morning is deceptive. It masks a high-tech machine that never stops running. Beneath the plush carpets, there are pressure-sensitive floor sensors that can detect the weight of a single footstep. Thermal cameras and motion detectors are activated throughout the private wings, turning the hallways into a digital web of surveillance. But technology is never enough. Just outside the royal suite, there is always a physical presence often referred to as the police page. This officer is not just a servant. They are a highly trained, armed sentinel stationed immediately outside the door. This means the monarch is never truly alone. Even in the deepest sleep, there is a guard standing just a few feet away, ready to engage any threat instantly. This proximity creates a profound sacrifice of privacy. The monarch must live with the knowledge that their snoring, their restless tossing, and even their private late-night conversations are being constantly monitored by a third party. It turns the act of sleeping into a guarded state operation where safety is prioritized over solitude. One former security officer once remarked that protecting the sovereign at night is like guarding a national treasure that breathes. As intense as the security is within the palace walls, the rules become even more morbid and surreal when the king travels abroad. When the monarch packs his bags for a tour, his bedtime kit includes items designed for the ultimate worst-case scenario, including a supply of his own blood and a suit for his own funeral. The most shocking secret of the royal night is coming up next. Number 1. The death kit and the reality of the gilded cage. When a monarch travels and prepares for bed away from a royal residence, the rules of the night take a turn toward the morbid. Every time the king packs for a tour, his luggage includes a specific set of items designed for the absolute worst-case scenario. This includes a full black mourning outfit, a rule instituted after 1952, when Princess Elizabeth was caught in Kenya without one after the sudden death of her father, King George VI. She had to wait on the plane for a black dress to be delivered before she could step onto British soil. Today, no royal sleeps abroad without the attire ready for a sudden, televised announcement of death. Even more startling is the medical requirement. When the monarch travels, a personal doctor is always nearby, carrying a supply of the king's specific blood type. This medical bag travels to the hotel or residence where the king is sleeping. The fear is that an emergency could occur in a region where the blood supply is not trusted or compatible. Therefore, the king literally sleeps near a bag of his own blood. It is a grim reminder that for a head of state, the threat of mortality is a constant travel companion, hovering over the bed even in the most luxurious suites. Furthermore, the idea that a king can simply shut out the world is a fallacy. The famous red box's leather cases, containing state papers and intelligence reports, follow him everywhere. It is well documented that monarchs often work through these complexities late into the night, sitting up in bed with their papers. If a major international incident occurs, a terrorist attack, or a declaration of war, the monarch must be woken immediately. There is no do not disturb sign for the crown. When we strip away the gold leaf and the velvet, these rules reveal a profound truth. The monarch is a prisoner of their own heritage. We often envy their wealth, but the reality of their nights, the time when we are most human and free, shows they are denied the simple, chaotic joy of a truly restful night. The king cannot even close his eyes without protocol dictating how it happens. His dreams are guarded by men with guns, and his very blood is catalogued in a suitcase. If you found this investigation into the hidden machinery of the royal family fascinating, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps us uncover more stories from behind the palace walls. Tell us in the comments, do you think the power and prestige are worth the total forfeit of a private life? We have an incredible video coming up next on the secret escape tunnels of Windsor Castle that you won't want to miss. We will see you in the next one.